Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a seriously fascinating text by Xu called The Mysteries of Life, Energy of Sound Waves. We're going to unpack the author's compelling and honestly kind of mind-bending proposition that sound frequencies aren't just things we passively hear. Instead, they act as a fundamental physical energy that literally shapes our world and our very own vitality.
So, think about this for a second. What if the sounds you hear every single day could build walls or completely tear them down? The source text suggests exactly that. It says that every sound we encounter is essentially acting either as a panacea for healing or as a powerful weapon for destruction, depending entirely on its specific frequency.
Section 1. The Energy of Sound.
To really get this text, we have to wrap our heads around the author's core concept, that everyday interactions are literally radiating physical energy. You know when you walk into a room right after a fight and you can just feel the tension in the air? Well, the author argues that a couple's sweet talk or a bitter, explosive quarrel are way more than just social dynamics. They emit specific wavelengths that physically and energetically impact anyone around you. They radiate either beneficial or harmful influences based purely on their sonic energy.
Section 2. Mantras and Magic. Building right off those everyday conversations, the text explains that highly specific, intentional sounds carry distinct powers. Take magical sound waves like the Avalokiteshvara heart mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. According to the author, chanting this is deeply beneficial. The claim here is that the precise frequencies of this mantra actually have the magical effect of enhancing truth and beauty while actively suppressing evil and ugliness. It's essentially a tool for elevating your literal life force. Now, what's truly fascinating here is how the author emphasizes the absolute pin-drop precision of these frequencies. Let's look at the recitation of the name Amitabha. The text claims that if the ah is pronounced as ah, it acts as an anchor dragging you into a dark abyss causing endless harm. But, and here's the kicker, simply shifting that single vowel's pronunciation to e completely alters the wavelength. Suddenly that sound yields infinite benefit, calm, joy, and the kingdom of heaven. It's like turning a dial just 1 millimeter and tuning into an entirely different radio station.
Section 3. Myths of Sonic Power.
Okay, so the text then scales these concepts way up into the realm of grand mythology, like the famous Chinese tale of Meng Zhongnu. Legend says her grief was so sonically powerful that she cried until the sun and moon dimmed, and her wailing literally collapsed a 250-mile section of the Great Wall. Now, while the author admits this might be a bit of a writer's exaggeration, he posits an incredible idea, that the oscillating sound waves of her powerful grief have echoed through the sky of history and physically affect us to this day.
We see this concept repeated again in the unjust case of Du Yi. After being wronged, Dewey swore a powerful oath that there would be snow in June and 3 years of drought. The text attributes the fulfillment of this oath not to magic, but to the raw sonic energy of her unjust vow. It suggests the sound waves themselves triggered those massive meteorological anomalies. And it's not just localized to one region. The text points across the globe to the biblical story of Jericho to further illustrate this destructive acoustic power. For 6 days, the Jewish army marched silently. But on the 7th day, a unified blast of priests' horns and incredibly loud shouting filled the air. According to the source, it was this specific, highly concentrated combination of sound waves that physically leveled those impenetrable city walls.
Conversely, on the constructive side, the source relays a staggering claim regarding the Egyptian pyramids. Forget cranes and intensive physical labor. The text suggests that a spell was placed on these massive stones, which weighed dozens of tons. When recited aloud, the exact frequencies of the vocal spells caused the stones to levitate. They just floated up and locked perfectly into place, literally guided by the chanter's voice. Encountering these world-altering claims of floating stones and collapsing walls brings us right to a very critical, obvious question. Are sound waves really that incredibly powerful?
Section 4. The Physical Proof.
To answer that question, the text attempts to bridge these mystical myths with tangible physics, pointing specifically to Chladni figures. Back in the day, German physicist Ernst Chladni proved that sound waves physically manipulate matter. By dragging a violin bow across a metal sheet covered in fine sand, the vibrations moved the sand into precise, beautiful geometric shapes. As the violin's melody and frequency changed, the physical patterns instantly rearranged themselves to match. It's absolutely mesmerizing.
The author uses the undeniable physical reality of these Chladni figures as a massive proof of concept. If the frequency of a violin can perfectly organize sand, the text argues, then massive sound wave changes can absolutely trigger macro-environmental shifts. We're talking everything from collapsing architecture to pouring rain, turning droughts into deserts, and even generating hailstones as big as footballs.
Section 5. Curating your soundscape.
Having explored the grand macro impact of sound, the text brings it all back down to earth, to a micro, personal level. The author asserts that sound wave energy is a core form of life energy. It's not just neutral background noise. It is an active energy source that absolutely must be cultivated if you want to maintain a vigorous, vital existence.
So, what should we actually be listening to? According to the author, anything that makes you feel joyful, calm, or uplifted actively feeds your vitality. This includes the chirping of birds, beautiful tunes, the peaceful words of saints, or a lover's whisper. These aren't just pleasant sounds, they are literally, physically nourishing your core energy.
On the flip side, you know those sounds that just make your skin crawl or make you feel instantly exhausted? Sounds that make you anxious, worried, or listless are literally radiating harmful energies right at you. The text specifically calls out the nagging of others, hoarse shouting, aggressive quarreling, and even the croaking of crows as destructive frequencies that damage your energetic growth.
In short, the author maps this out for us pretty mathematically. Positive, active, musical, and romantic tones will always benefit you. Conversely, passive, noisy, pessimistic, and unromantic tones will actively degrade you. The formula, according to the text, is incredibly straightforward.
And this brilliantly illustrates why putting negativity out into the world is such a double-edged sword. Because sound is physical energy. When a person swears or shouts, they aren't just insulting someone. They are generating a harmful frequency that severely hurts their own energetic state just as much as their targets. You are bathed in the exact same negative frequencies that you create. It literally backfires on your own energy.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer. The author leaves us with a very simple rule of thumb. The sounds you like to hear are beneficial to you, and the sounds you don't like are harmful. Take a moment to evaluate your own daily soundscape. What audio will you choose to absorb today? Carefully consider the invisible energies you're allowing to shape your life. Thank you so much for joining me for this exploration, and I'll see you next time.